Do you know how stress affects your nervous system and what you can do about it? Welcome back to Awake in Life. I am Harmesh. I'm a stress management coach and nervous system practitioner. If you're someone who's been trying to mindset your way out of stress that you've been feeling in your life, I want you to know that you're not alone because we have been told over and over that if we just change the way that we think about things, it will help to eliminate or reduce the amount of stress that we're feeling in our lives. Unfortunately, stress is not something that is just in your mind and can be thought away. When we are feeling stressed, we experience physical changes in our brains and our bodies, and our nervous system starts to come online ready to act. Before I begin, I want to just give you a quick overview of the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, which are only a portion of our entire nervous system. Let's take our sympathetic nervous system to begin with. You may have heard this being referred to as your fight or flight system. These are the responses that come up in your nervous system which have you ready to fight or flight. It's when your adrenaline starts pumping through your body, ready to get you to act. So, what your body is doing in these instances, it's really getting ready to have you either stand your ground and fight, or have you getting ready to flee a situation that is bringing up a certain kind of stress within you. You may even find your body becoming tense as it's ready to spring into action. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system. You may have heard this being referred to as your rest and digest nervous system. And although we might think that this is the nervous system state that we would ideally like to be in, a lot of the time this isn't actually the case. When we are in our parasympathetic nervous system, our body starts to slow down. That is to aid our rest and digestion. But when it comes to stress and our parasympathetic nervous system starts to come online, we may start to feel numb or start to disassociate from the things that are going on around us and that are causing us stress. We may find ourselves really collapsed in our bodies or find it hard to really motivate ourselves to do anything. So, those are just a brief summary of those parts of our nervous system. What are the ways that our body starts to react to stress? Well, there are several ways that this can happen. We're all individual, so we may experience stress in a very different way to what somebody else might be experiencing stress. But here are just a few examples. You might start to feel more aches and pains than you usually do. Your immune system becomes weakened and you might be more prone to colds or flu or other illnesses. You may experience weight loss or weight gain. You may start to get headaches, or you might start to encounter changes in your breathing. These are just a few examples, and the way that you experience stress may be a little bit different. For all of us, when we start to feel stressed, the thing that we want to do is get away from that stress or try to eliminate it as quickly as possible. We don't want to be stuck within that stress. This is where our choices and our patterns and our behaviors start to come online when we're meeting those challenges in life. And these are all learned over many, many years. When we're looking at the symptoms of stress and when they come up, this is when we can see ourselves reaching for those sugary or savoury treats, when we're snacking maybe a little bit more. This is maybe when we're starting to think about having a drink to try and relax. Or this is maybe when we're picking up our phones and starting to doom scroll to disassociate from what is going on around us. These patterns and behaviours that take place when we are feeling stressed, these are the things that make us feel safe and what we have been using to really regulate our nervous system. Because a lot of us don't try to complete our stress cycles, what we do is interrupt that stress cycle by looking at food, looking at alcohol, looking at our phones, and using those kind of behaviors. And there are many more as well. These are not exhaustive, but we look at those behaviors, those patterns of being, and those are the things that we use to deal with the stress that is coming up for us. But as I said, that doesn't help us complete our stress cycles, which are very important in learning how to manage stress in a more effective way. So, what can we do about this? Well, this is where we get to make a choice. We can either carry on with these behaviors, the snacking, the turning to alcohol, turning to the TV, maybe using our phones. We can carry on doing those things. Or here is the alternative. We can start to find healthier, better, and more effective ways to manage the stress that we're feeling. That will also help us to really uncover what it is deep down that is causing this stress to continually come up for us. I'm going to share 4 steps with you, and I must admit, when I've used these steps with clients, they have found them a bit uncomfortable, but I really want to encourage you to try and go through these steps in turn. I don't want you to rush. Please take your time because stress is something that builds up over time and it's not something that we can just get rid of by the click of our fingers. So, step one is understanding what is causing your stress. Now, this can take a bit of time because sometimes when we are so used to having stress in our lives, we start to use those behaviors and patterns that I mentioned earlier, and they're all very unconscious. So sometimes we don't even know that we're stressed because we're doing a very good job of either disassociating or thinking that we're managing that stress. So it's really, really important, first of all, to understand what causes your stress. What are the situations, the environments, the people that have you feeling unbalanced or feeling a bit dysregulated? As you go through your day, just notice what are the things that are coming up for you while different things are going on. Maybe you're in different activities, in different environments around different people. How are you feeling in those situations? Step two, how is your body reacting? So, when you're in these stressful situations or you're feeling quite challenged, try to really notice how your body is feeling in that moment. Again, it takes a bit of time to do this, but once you do start getting into that kind of mode where you're noticing things about your body, it becomes much easier. So, when you're feeling stressed or challenged, just take a moment. How is your body feeling? Are there any areas of your body that feel tight or maybe collapsed? Where are you feeling this stress? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your jaw? Or are you feeling something more towards your belly area? Really getting to understand how your body is reacting to stress and challenges around you. When you know what it is that makes you feel stressed and how you start to feel when you are stressed, go on to step three. This is really to discover how do I keep myself safe when I do feel stressed. This is really about noticing those unconscious patterns and behaviors that come up for you when you're in these challenging situations or in challenging environments. What is it that you immediately want to go to? Is it that you want to grab a bar of chocolate? Do you want to go for a drink? Or are you thinking about picking up your phone or turning on the TV to watch another episode of your favorite Netflix show? Really start to notice that when you're feeling stressed, what is it that you immediately want to go to? Because these are the behaviors that have been keeping you safe and keeping you in a more balanced state whenever you are feeling stressed. And just remember as well, you may not have consciously noticed these things because for a lot of us, they become very, very automatic. So there's no shaming here. We've all done it. But just notice what is the thing that you go to or gravitate towards when you are trying to manage your stress. And the last step is really taking what we've learned and asking ourselves, what can I do instead? A lot of the time, and for many of us, the way we manage our stress is not in very healthy or effective ways, and it actually keeps us in our stress cycles. So, we want to try and complete our stress cycle so that stress doesn't continue to be stored within our body. There are many ways to relieve stress and the energy and the emotions and symptoms that come up from feeling stressed. So, if you think about exercising, there are somatic practices that you can do. You can journal, you can go for a walk in nature, go and step out on some grass and ground yourself. These are all really good ways to process how you're feeling in those moments. Anything that helps you to process those feelings of stress will be beneficial for you. But please remember to pick something that works for you, because we don't want you to be feeling even more stressed because you're trying to process your stress. Creating better habits to manage your stress more effectively is an important part of building resiliency. Creating these habits is part of a stress management toolkit, and along with learning how to resource yourself, will help you to heal your nervous system. So instead of constantly dealing with stress in your life, you're actually helping to bring more balance to your life. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that it has been helpful to you. Remember to go through those steps at your own pace so that you can start to bring that balance into your life. And if you would like any support in helping to build more resiliency and work on a stress management toolkit, please get in touch. I'll see you in my next video.